they're addressing him. You see, brother, how many thousands of believers there are among the Jews, and they are all zealous for the law. They have been told about you that you teach all the Jews living among the Gentiles to forsake Moses, and that you tell them not to circumcise their children or observe the customs. What then is to be done? They will certainly hear that you have come. So do what we tell you. We have 4 men who are under a vow. Join these men, go through the rite of purification with them, and pay for the shaving of their heads. Thus all will know that there is nothing in what they have been told about you, but that you yourself observe and guard the law. But as for the Gentiles who have become believers, we have sent a letter with our judgment that they should abstain from what has been sacrificed to idols and from blood and from what is strangled and from fornication. Then Paul took the men, and the next day, having purified himself, he entered the temple with them, making public the completion of the days of purification when the sacrifice would be made for each of them. Acts 21, 20-26. New Revised Standard Version. This passage shows that the early Jewish Christians continued to follow Jewish law, circumcising their sons and keeping the traditions of their fathers. Some of them continued to take the Nazirite vow, as the 4 men whose heads were being shaved here. This Mosaic practice was one of dedicating one. Where did the concept come from? 67. Self to God and following strict rules of purity and sacrifice for a specified length of time. See Numbers 6, 1-21. Gentile converts, on the other hand, often did not follow the same set of rules. It is apparent from the above verses that in the Jerusalem church they only had to abstain from forbidden meats and adultery. Besides differing practices, there were also many different understandings within the early church concerning the true identity of Jesus. In fact, these differences were very marked, and are eloquently expressed by Robert L. Wilkin in The Myth of Christian Beginnings. Doubleday, 1971, pp. 165-166. There were no set beliefs agreed on by all, nor were there any ground rules on how to determine what to say or think or do, nor was there any acknowledged authority for deciding such questions. Let us suppose that in the year AD 35 2 men, Michael and Ephraim, became Christians in Jerusalem. Michael went to the town of Edessa in Syria to live, and Ephraim went to Alexandria in Egypt. On arrival in their respective cities, each told others about the remarkable man Jesus. After telling their friends about Jesus, let us say Michael and Ephraim organized Christian congregations. Almost immediately, problems would arise. What should we do about the Jewish law? What should we do when we gather for worship? The questions were endless, and the Christians in Edessa and the Christians in Alexandria would not answer all in the same way. The traditions Michael and Ephraim brought with them were too embryonic, too undefined, to answer every new question or settle every dispute. They had to make up their own minds as they understood their own situation and the memories they brought with them. Now let us change the scene to AD 75. 40 years have passed. In the meantime the Jews have been defeated by the Romans, and Jerusalem has been destroyed. Also, the Christian movement has spread widely and solidified its traditions. Let us now suppose that someone from Edessa travels to Alexandria and learns that there is a Christian community there. To his surprise, he learns that they have little in common except a common loyalty to Jesus, and the fragments of his words that have been handed on orally. And even the fragments of his sayings are not in quite the form. 68. Development of the Christian doctrine there in Edessa. The visitor from Edessa discovers that the Christians in Alexandria do not keep the Jewish law, whereas his congregation keeps it exactly, admitting no one to the Christian community without circumcision. The Alexandrians pray to Jesus, whereas in Edessa all prayers are addressed solely to God the Father. Both are shocked at the practices and beliefs of the others. Given this great diversity among early Christians, At what point did the doctrine of Jesus's divinity actually develop? And what were the factors contributing to the spread and eventual formalization of this doctrine? Searching for the answers to these questions is especially difficult because there are no known surviving documents from the Mother Church, the original Christian community in Jerusalem. For an extensive discussion of this point, see S. G. F. Brandon's book Jesus and the Zealots, Charles Scribner's Sons, 1960.